What's up, beautiful souls? Your boy Loon is back with another video, and you guys see it in the title. We are back on Incel.is. For those of you guys that are new, Incel.is is arguably one of the worst forums I've ever found online. This is where an incels only or involuntary celibate only men discuss various things and various topics, and sometimes, and by sometimes I mean like very little times, we'll see some good stuff come out of this or some actual thought-provoking conversation. But majority of the time, we see some of the worst of incels discussing some very heinous things. And so this is kind of your trigger warning now. There is going to be discussions of very dark topics in this. So if that triggers you, I mean, by all means, you can skip this one, but it is a wild experience every single time we dive into this. And before we do it, I just want to reiterate, there is such thing as normal chill incels. For those of you guys that don't know, I have a Discord, and occasionally we'll have like some very chill incels. I actually have friends that are chill incels or previously chill incels, and that's completely fine. The ones we're going to be talking about today are the complete opposite side of the spectrum. They are the ones who give incels a bad rep. And so yeah, without further ado, let's dive into this forum. I'm already warned, and I haven't even started yet. So this first one here, I'm just gonna blur it for a second. It says, every time I overhear a conversation between normies, or the derogatory term they use for women, oids with an F. This guy says everything is just blah, 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 cuddles, relationships, dating, blah, blah, cheating, affairs, hookups, jobs, and now since I failed the driving test, blah, 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 cars, traffic, driving. Dude, buddy, if you choose that's all you hear in life, then what do you expect out of your life? You're obviously going to be just negatively impacted every single day of existence if you choose to only hear that. I mean, it's a famous quote in one of my favorite animes, Vinland Saga. You truly have no enemies. You create your own enemies, dude. These guys. And don't forget my sports ball. This is a lighter hearted one. I wanted to start off with something lighter because it's about to get very, very dark. This next one is under the topic serious, which is crazy to me. It says, if you had a wife, would you hit them? That is an insane title. This is what I'm talking about. For those of you guys that are new to Incel.is, I mean, for those of you guys that are regulars, you guys know the deal. I mean, this form honestly ceases to surprise me at this point. But for the ones that are new, this is the kind of stuff that you see online. And it bothers me mainly because there are a lot of kids that go on forums like this. They find themselves into a rabbit hole like this. And some of these adults who are posting this, whether adults or teens or kids or whatever, they don't realize that even though it could be serious, it could be rage bait, whatever, there are actual teens, kids reading this and believing in this kind of stuff. We see it in my previous Incel.is videos. There are people who literally tell me when I was a teenager, I was in this forum and I'm so glad and thankful that I got out of that mentality. Like, we see that stuff all the time. And so that's why, like, honestly, that's kind of the point of these videos. I want to raise awareness on why some of this mentality is hugely negative to men's mental health and also society as a whole. I would wish that Incel.is and other forums like this would eventually move towards actual male positivity and helping each other out. Even looks maxing, the forum that we last explored, is better than this. And because then we're actually trying to help each other out, which is, you know, some other things are flawed too, but it's much better than this. All right, sorry, I had to go on that tangent. I get so frustrated with this forum. All right, so the guy says, like, how much would it take, like, her stealing money or her cheating or something less than that, like for getting the keys to the house, or just do it because she didn't bring you a beer? That is what? Why would you want to ever do anything harmful to your wife? You guys, like, and when I say you guys, I'm talking specifically to the dark side of incels, not like your chill guy again. You guys often ask yourselves, oh, why don't I have a girlfriend? Why won't I find love? Maybe this is why. Because you're looking and thinking about things like this. Like, why would anyone date anybody that would hit them in general? Like, seriously, think about that. Someone actually commented and said, no, thank God. Like, see, this is what I'm saying. There are incels in this forum that have some common sense. No, officer, of course not. Okay, that one's kind of funny. Nah, I'm a kind and friendly guy. I'd probably be the one to be hit. Aw, what? If she steals money, of course. If she cheats, of course, and then leave her forever. That's crazy. All right, this one's title says, found a based subreddit, women aren't into 99% of men. That statistically doesn't make sense, because then how do we have kids and a growing population? Love the stuff on here. It's pure black pill gold. Oh, and for people who are new to Incel.is and Incel culture, black pill is what a lot of these guys believe. It's kind of the final step of the red pill arc. You start with red pill and then you go black. Black pill is like, there's no hope. Women all want this because sure, these guys will know, right? It's insane mentality. All right, women are not into me is the post. Wow, okay. Truth, all right? We have a meme here, and it's a guy trying to hold in his tears with a mask saying, women should make the first move more often. We men shouldn't have to do all the work. And then the another guy goes, maybe she doesn't make the first move because she's not interested. If she would, if she really wanted to, she could. And then he's mad. See, as somebody who dates and has also been pretty, you know, into or previously into like bar pickup culture and like just talking to people in the outside world. I know that's crazy, especially with today's modern society, but this is much more layered than these people think. Women inherently usually don't like making the first move, but I have met a lot of women who have made the first move. And to me, it actually sets them apart. But at the end of the day, it does come down to, is both people attracted to each other? And then attraction is then broken into layers, because there has been times where I've approached a girl and they initially showed me that they weren't attracted to me, right? But then after like seeing them again, things might have changed. And so, yeah, there's a lot of layers to that. And then like you can also make them laugh, things like that. How you pick, it's so much more layered than this. But I will say sometimes women do make the first move, but oftentimes they don't. And they do like subtle hints, and it's kind of, I know it's like complex, but it's kind of up to us to interpret that, and that comes with experience too, because some girls would do like the whole like hair thing, but then you can misread that too. It's a whole process. Someone says LMAO, incredible self-own, especially since they spam all the grinding and self-improvement BS. This next one is wild. The title says, how many bodies would, you know, a lady have to have for you to not cuddle with them? What? Okay. I guess, okay, I don't want to judge this question too much, because this is like an actual question people ask each other, right? Like I've asked my girlfriends this, like, is there ever a number where a guy is, and they do give me numbers. So the question itself is completely fine. I'm more baffled at what we're about to see, because I've read ahead, and get ready. So the first person who posted, he said, I'm genuinely curious. I think that there will be a lot of mixed answers on this post. I would feel disgusted cuddling with a girl when I know that she's had a whole clan in her, which is what? Okay. All right. Someone said 1. Wow. Another person said, if she's the one offering and she's a 6 or above, she would have to have cuddled with every life form on earth in order for me to reject her. Okay, you know what? I kind of respect the honesty, at least. Someone said ideally 1, realistically 5. And then another person said 20 plus for me to reject her. Yeah, sorry, I have to keep this blurred because there's a lot of cuddle terminology in here. 1, personally 5 is the point. See, that's what's crazy to me. 1, 5, all that. Like, my brother's in Christ. I completely understand having a standard, and I'm not judging that. What I'm judging is when some of them are being very, very nitpicky. God, I want to show you this one so bad, but he's saying, like, I'll read this one. It's not the count, it's the specific activity. Guys with protection, but if there's any, like, come on, dude, you guys are getting so specific and stuff, but yet you guys are involuntarily celibate. So, like, can you really be that critical? Yeah, I don't know. I find it kind of weird. And I also thought this whole like body thing is weird because, and I forgot where I read it, but think about this. And especially if you're a fellow incel who's watching this video, right? What is the difference between a woman who has done cuddles with, we'll say 5 people, right? 1 time versus 1 person 50 times? Does it get weighed out differently? Like, I just don't understand. And then also, here's my whole thing about it too. If a girl doesn't have experience, I tend to actually not, I know I'm in the minority, but I actually don't like that. So like if they're zero, that's a turn off for me, because that's a lot of pressure to be there first. And also, not only is it a lot of pressure, I don't know if a lot of people have experienced this, but usually when you're with someone and you're there first, it's a lot of attachment that gets placed into that. And now you're the one having to handhold. You're the one who, and there's also a lack of experience that you have to deal with as well. There's a lot of things that come with, I mean, I get it. With a lot of numbers, that can be a turn off too. Me personally, I try not to judge because it's someone's past, as long as they don't have anything, that can be detrimental to me, and that you guys can fill in the blanks there. Other than that, I don't really care, because if I were to judge them, they could judge me, and I do not want to be judged on that. Yeah, I just thought, I think that whole thing is silly. But I understand everybody's got their own preferences, boundaries. Not going to be the one saying anything. It is what it is. But just think about it. If you guys are out there involuntary celibate, can you really be that picky? I don't know. It's your life. This one's interesting. The title says, has the war with incel tears finally been won? Referring to incel tears on subreddit. Because if you guys didn't know, incel.is culture hates incel tears because incel tears often post them, makes fun of them. They really don't say about us anymore. After years of combat, we emerged the victors of this incel Trunistic, I don't know how to say that. Trunistan war, or IT, I guess. Am I tripping? I still see incel.is posted on IT a lot. But even when I don't see it, you guys can trust your boy Loon will still be here to talk about it. But, I will say, I'm not out here to talk down on well, let me rephrase that. There are some guys on here that are actual heinous human beings that should not say certain things that incite the hate that they do, in my opinion. But there are some people who I genuinely I have no hatred towards. I know some of the incel people, they go on my page and they're like, oh, why do you hate us so much? I don't hate you guys. I actually I'm wishing you guys the utmost success. Sorry, I have lots of tangents today. This next one says, the whole Asian women preferring dating white guys have taken a toll on me. All right, this is a good one because I can touch on this subject as well, being an Asian guy. All right, so we got an original post here that was on Asian2X. Okay, here we go. That's an interesting subreddit. I don't know what that's about. And the post says, the whole Asian women preferring dating white guys have taken a toll on me. 2 days ago, I was followed by a Chinese guy when I went to a hardware store to buy some tools. Wait, is this a girl writing this? Interesting. This whole thing was a bit complicated, but he was clearly following me and then used excuses to talk to me. That's really weird. And guys wonder why women choose the bear. I'm still very scared now, and even considering if I should stay at a friend's place for a while. But that's another story unrelated to this post. What I wanted to say is that during this whole time, then he was following me. And when he was trying several times to talk to me, even though I had shown no interest in talking to him beyond courtesy, I actually had not told him directly to stop following me or asked him to leave me alone. This really strikes me hard. When I was ruminating about what has happened at that time, I realized that it's because I was actually deeply affected by the whole Asian women prefer to date white men thing. Okay. So I'm assuming this is a Asian woman posting this, but we'll see. I am actually a new immigrant and I have only dated Asians before leaving my home country. Even now, I have only dated one white person. I have not experienced racism until I come here. So that is really no internalized sexism that drives me to prefer a certain race, I think is what they're trying to say. I also don't have a preference of race. Respect, I love that. And it's okay if you do. It's totally okay to have preferences. It's always interesting when I meet someone who doesn't have a preference race because I'm like, hey, I have a chance. So I really don't think this discussion about Asian women's mating preferences has something to do with me. However, because I'm online a lot, especially on Reddit, where this Asian women prefer white men, quote unquote, topic comes up repeatedly in Asian online communities for some reason, I have probably internalized this idea at some point. I realized that when a white guy approaches me on the street, I mean, this is the Oxford study for those of you guys that don't know. I tend to always tell them directly that I'm not interested in them, or even simply roll my eyes. Sorry, the guy at McGill Station. But when an Asian guy approaches me, I tend to talk to them more than I want, because I would immediately think that, oh, I should be polite to them because I don't want to hurt their sense of masculinity. Or I should be kinder and gentler when rejecting them so that they wouldn't end up hating Asian women like those Redditors. Wow, that is actually really interesting that she subliminally thinks of that. That's fascinating to me. I have some thoughts on this too. I think this whole thing about Asian women prefer white men is just another type of sexism with a sugarcoat of reflecting on our or your internalized sexism. Or at least it is utilized by sexist people to control Asian women. But I mean, there are so many things to reflect when it comes to internalized sexism. Why choosing and especially emphasizing Asian women's dating preferences? And just because it has a scientific study, the Oxford study, behind it, doesn't mean that it is not, there are tons of scientific studies that is from a place to promote bad beliefs. For example, the whole thing on studying the relationship between intelligence and race. That's true. Also, for those of you guys that don't know, the breakfast being the most important meal of the day was a debunked thing. Kellogg's, it's a whole ordeal. So not all studies are legit. You find out later on. Same thing with I think was it the creatine study? I don't remember. There's another fitness one that was interesting too. I'm also studying psychology with Cuddles and relationship aspects of psychologists. So I've been thinking about the study for a while, but this is the first time that I noticed that this study and this whole discussion about mating preferences actually had an impact on me. And then all that, which is a very insightful story and post, because I find that so fascinating. The Incels.is guy says, we live in their heads rent free. Definitely a white guy. As a white guy, I can tell you right now, JBW is partly true. However, it's not magic. TLDR in Europe. What is LTN in Asian subhuman in Europe, LTN in Asia, and so on? While yes, JBL is true if you're very What? I don't even understand these terminologies. I'm sorry, guys. Maybe I'm old. I'm not even reading that. That's disgusting. You guys can read it on your own. Wow. I can't even put that next part in. I'm going to blur this now. Jesus Christ. Someone said rice cells talk so much, but all I gotta go is say white man, Asian female, and they shut the F up. No, I don't think I'll shut up, buddy, because as an Asian guy who has been with Asian women, I know that's baffling. I've had Asian women literally tell me, and it goes both ways. I have definitely met Asian women who prefer white guys, 100%. I have a joke with one of my good girlfriends. She's dating an Asian guy, but a lot of her Asian friends are dating white guys. And I'm like, Oxford, that's hilarious. But that's not going to stop me from finding the ones that do. I have met so many Asian women that literally only date outside their race or, that dates outside white specifically. I actually, the most recent Asian person I was talking to literally told me that they date anyone but white guys, which is hilarious to me because I'm like, it's the anti-Oxford study. But that just comes to show you that and this might be baffling, but there is no such thing as a general, objective preference for any group because every human is so vastly different in their preferences and things like that, which some of these guys cannot fathom. But that was fascinating though. All right, this next one I'm gonna have to blur. It says, let the gender pay gap sink in while you work minimum wage, you blue-collared S word. Or blue-collar, okay. We're referring to the little Tay making $1 million, an article about that in her first 3 hours. For those of you guys that don't know, Lil Tay, a former child star, made $1 million when she turned 18, making a OF, but the OF actually gypped all these people because it was just a link to her new song. Hey, Sora, you want to be in the video? Sorry, my cat's meowing. You wanted to be in the video. You wanted to talk about this too? Oh, all right. Maybe not. He saw the incel thing. He was like, never mind. I don't want to talk about this. But yeah, we actually did a whole video and deep dive on this topic. And now this person says, and F the dollar too. That is the only getting value from corn on the cob and printing. This is peak clown world. BS jobs make tons of money while real and manly job gets starvation wages. Even if you start your own business, shawarma truck, you won't get near that. And then someone else says, dismember everyone who paid for that's crazy. At this point, raise women, derogatory term for women, children like pigs, make them child stars, PG-7 way, and then what? Then on their 18th birthday, do make them a OF, but what? But then people will think that's screaming boo-hoo. It's called being able to retire at 18 and living out your life as a millionaire. What the hell is wrong with these guys? Like the mentality behind it. Also, I don't want to like have to do this, but I guess I got to take these guys to economics class. Like it's called supply and demand, right? Women. And it's, you know, it's not even just women. I'm pretty sure some of the top creators on, you know, that platform that we're talking about, the adult one, are guys too. But, you know, obviously predominantly are women. They wouldn't be that relevant if it wasn't you guys, or I mean, not specific these guys, but guys in general, creepy crawlers that are feeding into it. It's supply and demand. If there's no demand for it, then people wouldn't do it. So why are you complaining? It's just simple like that. The same thing with the shawarma. Shawarma's not gonna be successful unless people want the shawarma. I love shawarma. I'm gonna buy that shawarma from that chocolate truck. I mean, from that, I said taco truck, from that truck, as long as it looks good. Yeah. All right. This next one is interesting. It says, do you guys think there's any good in this world? What? That's so sad that these guys are like really, really nihilistic about life. It's just crazy. I really like, okay, let's read what he says first. This is a question that I go over often, many times in my head. Sometimes I feel like there's no good in this world and that God has cursed us and that we're destined for a life of complete misery and mental torture. What do you guys think? Is there, even despite a fate as cruel and as sad as Inceldom, still good? Is there still beauty? Okay, first off, I want to say, hey man, that sucks. Anybody who's going through any like thought of purpose and, you know, whether life has put you down for this and that reason, like I feel for you. That sucks. I remember there has been times in my life where I have definitely felt, I wouldn't say to that degree, but definitely been down bad and like have thought like, why me, you know? And to these guys and anybody who's feeling this way, like just know that there are people out there and there are ways you can get help and stuff like that. And I just wish that they would find a semblance of purpose and meaning. And, you know, I really recommend reading any form of absurdism. That's what got me out of it and got me knowledge on how and why I think my purpose is what it is. And also the whole thing that, is there really destiny or do you create it yourself? And I'm very much in the latter. I like to think that I can create or at least manipulate in some ways my own destiny. I like to manifest the things that I brought into my life. For instance, I manifested 10,000 subscribers. I'm not even lying to you guys. And right now I'm trying to manifest 100K. And like you can't get anywhere in life unless you believe it yourself, you know? You can get lucky for sure, but to think that luck will happen to you is just so wasteful, or not wasteful, but could be a waste of time because you're just sitting there. Why not do some things that can actually benefit you in the meantime, and then maybe luck will go on your side. But yeah, I mean, I actually feel for this guy. This is a sad feeling, and I know what he's going through to a degree. I wish I could just give this dude a hug. I mean, like people like this, I hope that you find a good community, a good group of friends or something. And, you know, you're always welcome in our Discord. We're pretty friendly. Link in the description box. But yeah, and this next person says, I can't conceive any amount of love and happiness to balance out how effed up this world is. And now I will agree that the world can be very messed up, for sure, 100%. I mean, I look at it, and this is another little thing, but my dad literally lost 7 years of his life stuck in a refugee camp called Bidao Medong, or I think it's called Held Island, because he was one of the boat people that left Vietnam and when the program stopped. So he couldn't even make it to America after 7 years, not being with my mom, not being with my sister. A lot of people, you know, unalive themselves. There was like a lot of really, really horrendous things he's had to see. And I asked him at the age of 20, I think I was 22 when I first found out the true nature of what he went through, because he finally told me. He's a very quiet guy. And he told me, like, yeah, there's times that he believed that the world is cruel and like, could this be the rest of his life? Is this the end? And there's times that he would literally, he didn't even smoke cigs, but he would smoke cigs on purpose just because it would stunt his hunger, because they were only given, I think it was a bowl of rice from the UN or something like that from like contributors. But yeah, I think about that, and then I think about what kept him driven. And I also realized that no matter how hard I have it in life, my dad had it way worse than me, and he still persevered because he told me, he said, if I weren't going to make it out alive from that camp, we would have no chance. And thinking about his family. And so he persevered for the hopes that he could get us all out the trenches. I mean, at the time I wasn't born, but my sister and my mom. And then I was born right after. But yeah, so like I think about that and I'm like, man, none of my problems are really that bad compared to that. And I don't know, that's just the way I compartmentalize this and also think about it. But there's always other people who are going through way worse things and have persevered and have literally created their own destinies. Like my dad genuinely created his own destiny by making it through that camp, 7 years, getting his ass to America, getting us to America. That I was born in Vietnam. And I think about that and I'm like, holy crap, how could I not be happy about life? I mean, there has been some very tragic things that's happened to me, my family at a younger age, but you just gotta believe. And if you don't believe, then yeah, of course nothing's gonna happen really if you don't believe in it. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, sorry, that was a long tangent, but I hope that somebody can take away from that that's going through something like this. And that, when I say things like that, I don't mean to downplay what you're going through. Everyone has problems. Everyone's going through. I'm not downplaying that. But what I'm saying is to have hope and to have belief is powerful, and it's kind of the first step towards, you know, what I think is a better life. But then again, hey guys, I'm gonna reiterate, I'm just a guy that's on YouTube. So what do I know? That's just all I'm gonna say. But anyways, next one. Nothing happened for me this year. Literally nothing. This year has gone by so fast and I've spent it LDARing and not much else I can do. I don't know what that means, but, well, you know, that sucks, but you know what's crazy? You could start doing stuff right now. Just get off this form and just start doing stuff. I'm not saying that in like a mean way. I'm just being very honest. Anything happen for anyone? Time speeding up is biblical IIRC. And losing track of it is easy when you're utterly idle. Yes, that part is 100% true. Time becomes hard to contextualize or conceptualize when you're idle. And, you know, your middle years of your life is going to be the fastest that speed by. When you're on your deathbed, you typically, I believe there's a study that's behind this. You remember the most of your early life and your later life, and you remember the major things in your middle life because your middle life goes by so fast, you know. Time doesn't go by fast enough, to be honest. At least the summer is ending soon. Some people believe that. All right, this one says white pill. Okay, I don't even know what that means, but rejection is a gift. All right, let's read this. For a long time, I always wanted to be loved and accepted and would do just about anything to win others' approval. I can totally understand that feeling. When in high school, I was very much like this. But in the end, no matter what I did, whether it's being kind, generous, a people pleaser, and simply acting a fool to look cool, my situation always remained the same. Interesting. But after the day I was faced with severe rejection and saw people's true colors, I am no longer able to look at anyone the same. Whoa, villain arc. But let's see. Maybe a hero arc. We'll see. And indeed, for a time, I became severely depressed. I'm so sorry. That sucks. However, God came and revealed himself to me and got me back up. And with that, I learned to let go. Well, congrats. That's powerful. Learning to let go is so important. And like something that I learned as I got older, like, and also to connect to what he was saying about the whole, you know, being a people pleaser, life becomes so much more fun and positive when you stop giving a F about what everyone else around you thinks. Seriously. I I know it's easier said than done, but it's a long story in regards of how I made it this far, and indeed I'm still single. But the one thing I can say is that I've learned over time to be authentically myself. Dude, hell yeah. This is what I'm talking about, bro. Every now and then, we genuinely see some good in Incel.is. Like this, I love this. This should be more of what I see. This is awesome. No matter what anybody says about me, which is to say, when you face enough rejection, you start anchoring your identity so much that it cannot be shaken regardless of the storm. Own that boy. Let's go. You know what? This, I bet you, this confidence that is building from this, I can predict that this guy's future is in an upward trend, whether it's success-wise or just dating even. And though I've made a thread recently about it, I'm thankful that I got catfish. Oh, I'm sorry you got catfish. That's the worst. I've gotten catfish before. Because it served to make me more discerning and have stronger boundaries. And my standards are higher, teaching me to stop settling for less. Let's go. So with that, based on the fruits I'm yielding from these negative experiences, I know that the day will come when I will make it on the other side and there's someone waiting for me. But first, I'm going to have to keep dying to complete my metamorphosis. Okay, dude, hell yeah. I love this. I want to add to this because this is amazing. I want to add to this guy. You are on like such a great path. The next step is just trying to if you want to date, trying to understand the other side, being more forgiving, but also respectful and understanding and treating them like treating women like us. Cause they really are just humans that are just the other version of us. But yeah, dude, this is sick. That was awesome. And of course, there's someone out here that says cope. And that's what I'm saying. It really be your own that really puts you down, you know? And it's like, we see it all the time in my videos. There's always guys that are like, this rice cell right here talking to me, oh, he's coping. And I'm like, bro, and you think that men's mental health isn't taken seriously? No, because we're the ones who put each other down. Like, you guys often say, oh, it's women. No, it's you guys. You guys are the ones that instead, why not spread some positivity, help each other out, teach each other how to succeed in life, in dating, in everything. And instead of just saying, oh, it's hope. Acceptance brings some peace, I guess. I don't know. I don't think that's what he was really going towards, but absolute freedom and power. Hardest cope I've seen in a while. That's what I'm saying. See, guy like this, like the guys who are saying cope, hey, bro, good luck to you guys. You know, if you cease to believe, then you really will never achieve, you know? So if you're okay with never achieving any form of success, go ahead, bro. Just don't believe. I have to blur this. Oh God, I hate this guy. Okay. And I say this very lightly. I mean, I don't say this very lightly. There is not a lot of, hate is a strong word, but there's not a lot of people on even Incel.is that I truly am like, what? This one dude, and we've read his stuff before. I don't know who he is. I don't want to incite any harm on him, but the stuff he says is like, should put him on a list is all I'm going to say. Cause some of the stuff is actually up, bro. And all right, I'm going to blur this. Of course it's him. All right. It says the worst part about being an incel is not having a girlfriend to, we'll just say beatbox or beat up, I guess. I think I could say that. Forget the cuddling or intimacy. Forget the close personal love. Imagine how nice it must be to get home from a long day of work just to be able to knock one of your girlfriend's teeth and give them black eyes. What? See, this, and you know, these guys, they're going to say, oh, I was joking. It was just a joke. I don't care if it's a joke, brother. There's kids reading this shit. And, you know, all jokes have some form of realness. Like, this guy might actually believe this stuff. Like, and it's just fucked up, bro. This is how psychopaths are. I'd love to parade her around in public after, too, so that everybody can see how I blanked her. It's gotta be so satisfying for Chads when they get to punch and slap blank when it talks about it. Referring to women as it is crazy. What the fuck? All right, we have somebody who actually calls him out, and then other people are just actually promoting this. This is insane. What the fuck? All right, this next one's title, I didn't even want to touch on the other one anymore. That one's so cuddling is the only thing that matters in life. No, I'll keep it blurred for a second and then I'll unblur. Money, careers, hobbies, and all that stuff only matters if you're getting cuddles constantly. And unfortunately, I am an incel forever version, so my life is meaningless and pointless. No, that's not how it works, bro. Like, just because you don't get cuddles doesn't mean your life doesn't mean anything. Life is valuable and precious. Your life, my life, even the last guy, the guy who I do not like at all. I'm not going to deny that life, even his life, has meaning and purpose, right? It could be a weird one. It could be a bad one, but it still has, you know. This is the thing. When you hyper fixate and put on a pedestal one thing, meaning cuddling, money, it could be anything, success, hobbies, anything, right? When you put it on the pedestal as that one thing, you're setting yourself up for the biggest letdown of eternity. Because once you reach that height, you will then realize that all this stuff that you've worked out up to be isn't really like anything. And that's why I read The Myth of Sisyphus by Albert Camus, because he states in it that it's not about reaching the top. It's not about the cuddle. It's not about all that. It's about the journey. It's about the purpose. It's about you working to get there, the whole stories that in between, like everything else. That's life, bro. Like, yeah, we're getting really philosophical in this episode. Yeah, let's just go back to reading. The next title says, or next comment says, nothing matters. It's a pointless activity that you do for subjective meaning. See, that I don't believe in that either, because then that's a nihilistic standpoint. I think it all kind of matters. Just nothing matters solely. Everything matters to an extent, for sure. Food and water are the only things that matter in life. Crazy statement. What about family, friends? And then even if you don't have family and friends, your journey, your story, like things like that, you know? Crazy. All right, this last one I kept in here. I really debated on keeping it in. I really didn't want to have to do this, but it is so bad that I have to, and we're gonna blur. We'll play the video, but we're gonna blur a lot of it. The title alone says, in all caps, "It's over. You're not legally allowed to." We'll just say R. Sorority S. God damn it, this sucks. All right, so we got a recruitment video of an American college sorority. Oh, I cannot play that music. All right, so we got girls dancing. I'm not gonna lie, this stuff is pretty cringy. I used to be in Greek life, so yeah, it's goofy. I get it though, girls wanna recruit each other. It looks fun. Sometimes they are lit, like I ain't gonna lie, some of the videos, okay, that was kinda cool. Like some of them aren't that cringy, but some of them can be very cringy. Like, I want to be in 80 pie, boom, boom. I don't know if y'all ever saw that meme. That one's pretty freaking cringe. Okay, so we got a video. You guys get the gist. And now I have to blur. The guy who posted this video on IS says, R word, F, so many effing S's in the world. They all want this. They all want to be S's taking part of this S hive, engaging in S rituals for Chad's attention and to be pooped on. Sorry, I don't mean to make this a joke. I just had to laugh because I chose that word. I apologize. By oil shrieks for 50K, all congregate to maximize their potential in being a effing W in a so I'm not gonna say that. All for the top frat boys to cuddle, and for you a restraining order. How is there more safety in colleges, campuses than Gaza? What in the fuck is wrong with these guys' brains? Like, actually, I don't even know what to say to that. Like, that's insane that people sit here online and write stuff like that. And then think that women they're entitled to their attention and stuff. That's baffling to me. Yeah, I'm worn. I'm done. Every single time. My battery gets depleted from these videos, specifically the incel ones. The other ones, I'm fine. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as you guys could, because that was a journey. But I love you guys so much. I hope you guys, have enjoyed all the recent content. We've been pumping out some great videos lately. And yeah, I just love you guys so much. If you guys are new to this channel, you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button, notification bell. We do things like this every single day or two. Yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.